Hi, happy stream. So today is about Child's Play. We're going to be talking about what makes memories memorable. I absolutely love the idea of like slasher films and how iconic a character can become, and also I love the idea of like the surviving characters as being just as iconic as the killers. And I have some Red Bull and I'm ready for this. I also have this book that I absolutely love called The Power of Moments. And I'd love to dive a little bit into this idea in the book of what makes moments memorable, because Child's Play is one of the films that is the most memorable for me, because I think about when I was younger and I used to have sleepovers with one of my best friends, and we'd make iced tea slushies, and we would have so much fun watching all of the Child's Play movies. And I always think Child's Play is one of those movies that feels a little bit like a comedy. I absolutely love it. So I'm just gonna press play, and I'm also going to post that we are live now. So super excited. So I'm looking for my Child's Play outfit, if I could find it. So something that I thought would be super fun is announcing that we'll watch Scream at the next live stream. And I think we will poll on whichever one is best, what people enjoy the most. So I'm just gonna post this. We are live watching Child's Play on our Out of Context Horror YouTube channel live stream. Stop by and chat. So I think it's actually really cool, this one specifically. The idea of memories and moments, and I absolutely love just how incredible that these movies are and how iconic they are, because I think a lot of the times we forget just how iconic they are, but they are so iconic. I am just posting that we are live. Just posting we are live. Yeah, so I am so excited about this one. I think there's a big difference between finding something you love and having it actually be memorable. And I think you can love a movie and remember how it makes you feel, but actually remembering like vividly, whether it's like a scene. I know a lot of people in The Exorcist have this scene of, I think it was a deleted scene actually, when she's going down the stairs, and they have that as such a vivid memory in their mind, even if they've seen it so many years ago. And I think something that horror is uniquely positioned for is this idea of being memorable because it's terrifying. But I also love different ideas we'll get into that really touch upon how important like shared memories are, and the idea that there can be a collective of people experiencing this at the same time. So he is caught and he's at the toy store right now. Chucky. And I think it's really interesting how he's the story really revolves around him like doing voodoo. I think voodoo is the correct word, but it might not be the correct word. And putting his soul into the body of Chucky, the doll, who's a good guy's doll, which is the cutest doll I've ever seen in my life. I don't know why I find Chucky so cute, but he's adorable. He's so adorable. I absolutely love him. I think one of my favorite things is the beginning of any Chucky series, when in the beginning of the series he's like buddies with whatever the child is, and I think that that is so adorable. Obviously the child recognizes that Chucky is evil and there's some sort of like rift in their relationship, but I think it's honestly so cute when when Chucky is just like this force of like being a buddy, which I find so interesting because in a lot of horror movies we've talked about, like specifically in the Freddy films, is how the parents are in conflict with the children, and a lot of the times the children in the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise, they actually are battling the parents and this gaslighting that the parents put them through. And I think it's really interesting how Chucky is kind of like this sanctuary and friend to the children before they realize that he's not a safe haven for them. So last time we did this, the live stream didn't work and it was buffering. So if anyone's here, has it buffering, please let me know. Because I'm not sure if it's working. I'm hoping it's working. Happy Saturday. First time joining. Hey. I want to say it said red pasta. I would love to have pasta right now, but it's red panda. No buffering. That's good. Thank you, Jeremy. And welcome, Red Panda, for your first time. So next week, we're gonna do a Scream movie. So if anyone has any suggestions on which Scream movie, I would love to hear them. And the Scream 7 is in the works, so talking about some of that would be really fun. It actually doesn't say that anyone's here on my end. I do see the chat is open, so I'm glad there's no buffering, but I think there's something glitching on my end specifically. So yeah, I'm curious, does anyone find that there are parts in horror movies that they specifically feel are so memorable to them? Like, I think for me, like, I'm terrified of Halloween. Our first live stream was Halloween because it truly scares me. And something that I think about all the time is him, like, coming out of the bushes and just, like, seeing him, like, just stalk Lori, is so memorable in my mind. So I'd love to hear if anyone else has any memorable horror moments. I think there's a lot of like really memorable stuff in The Exorcist. I love so much the way she looks. Like the makeup is so good. Like the green, the like green and yellow in the eyes is really powerful. Um I love horror movies in general. Like I find them all to be so memorable, especially the ones that I feel like horror movies are actually like my comfort movies, um, because I watched them a lot as a child. I've also been like so fascinated with um the idea of horror movies not playing on like actual things that are horrifying, but things that are unsettling. Like the idea in Child's Play when Andy is bringing his mom breakfast in bed and like the milk spills, and like this idea that like that is really unsettling for a lot of people. I like the Batwing thing you got on. Yeah, it's Ghostface. That's interesting that horror is your comfort movies. Yeah, I do have other comfort movies like Good Will Hunting is a big comfort movie. Shawshank Redemption is a big comfort movie. Stand By Me is probably the ultimate comfort movie. You popped up on X and I followed you and finally was able to catch a live. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome, Red Panda. Welcome. Does anyone have any memorable moments in horror movies? I'm so curious because I would love to hear them. I love talking about moments and what makes moments memorable. I'm having some Red Bull. Sometimes it gets me like really on edge, but I'm so excited to be back live streaming because we haven't live streamed, I think maybe in a week and a half. The last live stream was Shawshank Redemption on my personal YouTube account. But yeah, I'm so happy to be back. Yeah, I don't know if Mars, if you were here in the beginning, but I was talking about how Child's Play, when I think of it, it's one of like the most comforting ones because I used to have sleepovers with one of my best friends and we would like eat popcorn and make slushies, like iced tea slushies, and we would like just have a marathon. That's like back when you would rent DVDs and stuff, and have a marathon of the Child's Play and Chucky movies. There's so many. My favorite moments are usually a good kill or a creative kill. Oh, that's interesting. Hi, Apple Richie official. Welcome, everyone. So awesome to have you here. I'm so excited to be live streaming again. I didn't catch that part. I miss renting DVDs. Oh, I know. You know something that I think about all the time, and I like wonder if it's like worth recreating, but how Blockbuster used to have like they'd have like one movie and they'd have like 20 of them. And I have no idea why, but that would be so exciting to me. Like the idea of like seeing the movie and having it so many of them. And I don't know why that's so exciting in my mind, but I think about it all the time. I'm still hoping one day I can have a full-size good guy doll. Oh yes, I look them up all the time. I feel like I just read the beginning of one comment and then read the beginning of the end of another comment. I get why it feels like comfort for you then. Miss those days. I feel you. I watched Child's Play with family and enjoyed watching it. I'm still hoping one day I can get a full-size good guy doll. Yeah, you know, I look them up all the time. They're so cute. My nose is running a little bit. Let me just wipe it. The Good Guys dolls are so cute. I was just actually tweeting about how cute they are. I wonder to myself if I would really enjoy having a Good Guys doll or if it would be terrifying at times. But I feel like I would really enjoy it. Art the Clown is my favorite horror character. Is that from the Terrifier? I feel like we should watch a Terrifier. I haven't watched them. I feel like I might need to watch them on my own to like really think about them before we do a live stream. Rental places need to come back. I've watched so many unique movies because of the cover art. Yeah, that's so true. I miss rental places. I really miss walking down that Blockbuster aisle and the movies all out. It's better than scrolling on Netflix. I know, it was so fun. I also like loved that when there was like a new movie out and it was like all sold out and there were like none of the ones you could watch, then you would like go into like the middle aisles and look at like old movies you never would even like think about, but you're like, "Hey, like maybe I'll watch something else." Terrifier, but originally from All Hallows Eve. Oh, that's interesting. I feel like I should write that down. Alice Cooper in the movie Prince of Darkness was awesome and terrifying at the same time. Oh, interesting. What's this channel about? So we talk about horror movies, but specifically, and I think we might get into horror books. I read so much for fun that I don't want to have so many books that are more for like hobbies on here. So I think we will talk about books and adaptations later on. Yeah, but I love to create like short stories on here. If you like go back, you'll look at like drop one, and drop one was a bunch of short stories from my ebook Lantern Lines. We're gonna do a second drop, and we're gonna have human voiceover narration to the animation. I love writing stories. I'm a writer and author, and this is just a fun way to share stories with people. And I think there's a lot of things that are wrong with the way that different industries share stories, and they don't really connect with people, and they don't have a relationship with the people they're creating for. So a lot of this channel is building it with all of you, and it's not just my channel, it's our channel. And I love the idea of like when I get feedback, like we try to intertwine all of it and create it together. The voiceovers are going to be from people who are fans of the channel, and I really absolutely love that. All Hallows Eve is like VHS. Here it's a bunch of horror short films. That's interesting. Haha, when the new release was sold out, I'd be salty, but you are right to pick something else. Yeah. And also, like, it's like, you would just get it next week. Blockbuster was like my prime. I'm actually working on like a sci-fi novel that's set in the 90s. And I'm super excited about that one. I don't know why my nose is running so much. Maybe all the Red Bull. I did have a Red Bull before this too. I don't know if I seem on edge. I'm having fun though. I'm so excited. Oh yeah, something I was thinking about is this idea of in horror movies that there are characters that you don't want to die and that you're really like fighting for them to survive. And then there are characters that you don't like, that you're like, this person is objectively unlikable. And you kind of like are like, I would be okay with them not making it. And also you get a satisfaction from them not making it, which I feel like in horror movies there's like a justice and a right and wrong. And sometimes horror movies play on that, and they really emphasize the wrong more than the right. And I think that horror movies specifically discuss or bring up topics that are deeper than they appear to be, and I think go deeper than a lot of other genres can. It's the weather. My nose won't stop either. Yeah, I had the window open earlier, so maybe the temperature is not the best. The good guy's doll is so cute, and I love how Andy. I didn't remember this, but Andy actually is wearing the matching outfit. I don't know why I didn't remember that, but that's a really cute thing. Yeah, but anyway, the aunt, Maggie, is one of those characters that I feel like is unlikable. I think something Chucky, the franchise, does really well is recognizing when characters are unlikable, and it sounds horrible, but killing them in the movie. I think I really like that about the Chucky franchise. And also, like, in the beginning, it always feels like Chucky is almost protecting the child that's the main character, and I kind of like that aspect of Chucky, and I feel like it makes Chucky more iconic, and then that kind of, like, the relationship between the child and Chucky turns. It's funny how the horror villain becomes a likable one, LOL. We don't really want them to die. Like, Chucky's funny. I root for him. Yeah, me too. Do you watch, like, comedies? I find Child's Play to be very much like a comedy. The whole Chucky series seems comedic to me. I feel like comedies sometimes go off the deep end, and I like other genres that use humor, but maybe not specifically something that's fully a comedy, because I feel like sometimes it veers off of having an objective. Um, so yeah, I do love horror a lot more than I love comedies. Jeremy, do you like comedies? I have a feeling you asked because you like comedies. I actually had, like, a long hiatus from even watching television or movies. And a lot of the stuff I watch now are things I've rewatched. Like, I'm very into, like, the classic horror movies. Yes, comedies are my favorite as I get older. Oh, that's interesting. What are some of your favorite comedies? Favorite horror movie, Halloween, 100%. Um, but I feel like I have an attachment to most of them. Like, all of the classics, I feel like I have an attachment to. I'm actually, like, um terrified of Halloween. I don't know why it scares me so much. I was thinking of talking to a friend about this, about why it scares me so much. And yeah, just my whole life I've been terrified of Halloween. I don't know, like, my siblings used to, like, lock me in the basement and play the music. Every time the music comes on when I'm, like, listening to Monster Mash, and it'll be, like, a Halloween playlist, like, the music will come on and I will be so on edge. When I was younger, I watched Halloween this one time, and I was looking at it like this from, like, the couch, and I didn't move, and I actually pinched a nerve in my neck, and my neck was, like, stuck like this, and I couldn't, like, straighten it out. Semi-Pro, Top Secret, Ballad of Ricky Bobby. There were so many. Interesting. I don't know if I've seen all of those. If you want, you can keep going with some of them, because eventually I'm sure you will mention some that I've seen. How did you feel about the first Rob Zombie remake? Honestly, I haven't seen a lot of the new ones because I'm so scared. Um, I was too terrified to go to, like, the theater to watch any of them, because, like, my worst nightmare is, like, being trapped and not being able to walk away or pause the movie. um it's like I would say it's borderline a phobia. Like, I have a phobia of Michael Myers. Like, it's pathological, I would say. I saw a trailer for it, for I think it was the first Rob Zombie remake, and it was terrifying. At first I didn't know what it was, but then when I realized what it was, I was so terrified. But that was a long time ago, actually. I think I was still young when I saw that trailer in the movie theater. Um, but yeah, I'm absolutely terrified of of Michael Myers. I have like cosplay Michael Myers, and I am so glad that it is such a cheap mask that it doesn't look like Michael Myers enough to actually terrify me. So yeah, I am so terrified. I was a huge horror fan until my daughter was born in 2011, and then they started to affect me differently. Like I would start to think of her in that situation, and it would give me a lot of anxiety. Um, yeah, I could see how that could be terrifying. You mentioned you'd might you'd might own a child's play doll. Do you people dolls can be haunted? Do I think dolls can be haunted? I do think dolls can be haunted. I am very superstitious. Like I wouldn't say that I live my life based on superstition, but I would say that superstition does deter me. Like if someone told me like this is haunted, I would stay away. Um I love horror, but I love fiction. Um I wouldn't say I test the limits of the supernatural because it absolutely terrifies me. Um, if something's haunted, you can be sure I will stay away from it. Like I've seen too many horror movies to be like, oh, this is like said to be haunted. Like let me like test my luck. Like I have a respect for things being haunted. Have you watched a Chucky TV show? I think I saw the first couple of seasons. I really like I don't know. I absolutely love like that grace period where Chucky is like protecting the child and the child like doesn't understand how evil Chucky is, and I think it's like really beautiful. So that's like the beginning of Chucky movies and the beginning of Chucky, like the TV show. Like that's kind of like my favorite time. Same here. I am superstitious and believe an object can be haunted. Yeah, I think it's like even if you don't believe something's haunted, like I understand skepticism, but like if someone tells you that something is haunted, like what would make you like risk that? You know what I mean? Like and I think there's something very different about like being a part of like haunting culture or like like paranormal investigators. Like I understand that, like that's your space, but I don't understand like being an average person and like feeling comfortable like testing superstition like that. That doesn't make sense to me. Do you go to haunted houses, haunted hayrides? No. As you can hear from what I'm saying is I do not test anything that's haunted. Um, it's also why Chucky did scare me growing up. The idea of dolls attacking me. Yeah, I think I'm curious, were you scared after watching the movie or was it before you watched the movie? Because I think there's a lot of fear that can come from a thought of something without actually watching it. I think like if you have a fear of something, watching it usually like dissipates the fear because you see how the characters overcome that villain. I do love Chucky, the TV show. He was protective of that kid. Yeah, I absolutely loved that part of it. And I feel like in most of the movies, there's like this bit of like protecting them. And I don't know why I love that so much. Good catch it was before, yeah. Well, the thing with Child's Play and the Chucky franchise is that it is so comedic and Chucky, I think is likable. Like he's very likable. And there's something non-threatening about him when you watch it. Sorry, Andy just came in screaming about Chucky, and I got a little absorbed into it. I agree. Your mind thinks thoughts can make things so much more scary than they really are. You know, something, and I posted this today, so it's funny that it's coming back. Pennywise, I feel like a lot of people are afraid of Pennywise the clown without ever watching the movie, and they're terrified of the look of the clown, and they don't really watch the movie. You know, obviously people watch a movie and they're scared too, but I see like kind of like the lore of Pennywise being something that precedes them actually watching the movie, and a reason why people don't watch the movie. Also, I really love those like elevators that like you can see it going up and down, and they're like I don't know, I think that's so cool. A lot of people are afraid of clowns. Yeah. Well, you think about like who was it? The serial killer that dressed up as a clown. I want to say Gacy. Gacy, is that the name? Um, if someone wants to look that up. I have always been scared of clowns, even before I did see Pennywise. Yeah, maybe John Wayne Gacy. I feel like that's either a hockey player or a serial killer. Sorry, I shouldn't confuse the two. I'm really tempted to look that up. I'm sure actually people might not want to look that up. I don't know if you're gonna be on a watch list. Yeah, I think the Chucky, like the original outfit, is so cute. Yeah, I feel like a long. It was Gacy. I looked it up. Thank you. Is his name John Wayne Gacy? Wade. The doll's so cute. I think we've all John Wayne Gacy. Yeah. Yeah, he dressed up as a clown. So there's real reasons to be afraid of clowns, aside from the fictional world of these movies. I feel like it would be a good the movie It would be a good like long live stream. It was tiring, that 7-hour live stream. Um but it was super fun. I think I would have to wear something more comfortable. Um I also feel like a good long live stream would be Friday the 13th. That would be super fun. I have a Jason cosplay, and that's super comfortable. It was actually I felt so weird like when we did the 7-hour live stream, like being like, oh, I have to go to the bathroom. I don't know why it felt so strange. Um, Although it's like obviously in 7 hours, like everyone has to go to the bathroom, so like it shouldn't be a strange thing. But I felt like strange being like, oh, I have to go to the bathroom. I feel that way on Zoom calls too. I was just talking to a friend about this. Like when you have to go to the bathroom but you don't go because you feel like it's almost too awkward to say you have to go to the bathroom. I don't have to go to the bathroom right now, but if I did, I probably wouldn't go. I'm just watching. The doll's so cute. He's sneaking out of school. Big respect for you for that live stream. It was long. It or Friday would be good for those. Even Chucky can binge of a season or the rest of the movies. Yeah. I think maybe like a season of a show would be fun. Sometimes like it really like is a lot of fun for me to do something that I normally wouldn't do. Even with a lot of these live streams, like I don't always like allow myself to watch a movie because I always feel like there's something else I should be doing. And it can be like really comforting to just be like, oh, okay, there's nothing better for me to do right now than to just like enjoy this. Oh, have a nice dinner. Have a great night for you too, and I will be safe. I hope you are safe too. Enjoy dinner. I'm just watching Andy walk through the streets. I'm curious, does anyone have a favorite Scream movie? I loved the first three. I saw the fourth in theaters, and the fifth and sixth one, I don't think I've seen yet. The original. Yeah, that one's so good. I love how like meta it is, how they like talk about horror movies. The first one can't beat Matthew Lillard. Yeah, he's coming back. I don't think I cared for Scream 3. I think I love Scream 3 was really good because it was so interesting. Like them seeing themselves be played by other actors. Like I think it was like really interesting, and then Sydney to see like how she changed, because I think a lot of the times in horror movies you don't always get to see like character development in people, or just like you don't really understand the amount of trauma that a character faces and how they heal from that, which I think is really interesting. It's an interesting way to explore that. It's funny, Andy was in the street. Kids can't roam the streets anymore. Yeah, let's hope they don't. It was like actually a dangerous area, so let's hope that kids are not roaming dangerous areas. Um but I definitely lean toward the cautious side. Thank you, Game Over. He's great in everything. The guy that I guess the guy that left him in the beginning is someone he's pursuing now, and I actually didn't remember that part of this movie. I heard he was great to meet in person too. I know a few people that met him. Oh, that's awesome. I love when people are great to meet in person. Um, Chucky just blew up the house of the guy that left him in the beginning. I'm curious, is anyone a Chucky fan? Like, what's your favorite Chucky? I think there's something so cute about Child's Play because the doll is just so adorable. And then also I think Bride of Chucky is really fun. Seed of Chucky is fun. I really loved the series. I loved the way it looked. I think it was like really fun to watch. And I loved how they brought back characters from the movies. I don't think I saw Cult of Chucky. Oh, actually, I forgot to talk about memories. Power of moments. So, in the Power of Moments, there's like a few things that they talk about. Chucky and Bride of Chucky, especially Bride, it added new elements. Yeah, I loved that. I love Jennifer Tilly. Um, so elements that make a moment memorable is elevation, insight, pride, and connection. I think something really interesting is this idea of connection. So in connection, it's like creating shared meaning. So something I love about movies is like not always that the movie is so memorable, but like watching the movie can become memorable. And I love that like making watching a movie memorable is so good. Like I love that. Like I love when people send me videos of like movies we watched together. I can't say that I have a favorite, but I've probably watched The Bride of Chucky more than the rest. Yeah, that's a good one. I think I've probably watched Child's Play the most because I was into it when I was a child, and that was before Bride of Chucky came out, I think. Deepening ties, making moments matter. I love that. I love the idea of connection as being something that makes moments memorable. Um, and then the idea of elevation is like building peaks and breaking the scripts. So things that are unexpected are memorable. Um, I think that's so fascinating. I also like in my personal life, like I love to like do things that I feel like um I'll remember and that my loved ones will remember. I don't know if anyone else is like that. Like something that's important to me is like bonding in my relationships and like feeling like there's moments that I can like kind of like reminisce on in my relationships. I like the idea of sharing moments. Part of the enjoyment of some horror movies is going to the theater and hearing the yells. I'm not sure if I've ever been to a horror movie in theaters where people actually yelled. I recently saw Hard Eyes in theaters, and I don't think anyone yelled. Um, it's a sense of connection and bonding. I do feel that way too. Yeah, I think it's really beautiful. Like using movies, movie nights, things like that as ways to like bond with people. Also, I love how when you like really love a movie and someone else watches it, like that feels like a shared meaning, a shared moment, a shared memory. I'm all about creating experiences with people. Yeah. She's opening Andy's mom is opening up the back of Chucky to see that he has no batteries in. I just love that part. I really love that part. Yeah. Curious, what what in your opinions, like what makes memories memorable? And you can like add on some of these things here that I'm reading. That's a good moment when she realizes he's real. I know. I might sneeze. Insight. Trip over the truth, stretch for insight. Yeah, I think insight makes moments memorable. I'm curious what people feel about that. I personally love to share realizations. Like when I have a realization about something and sharing it with people I love, I feel like that's a moment where I bond with them. Also, like the idea of like having a realization and sharing it with someone makes it like maximizes it in a way that is so meaningful because you give someone else something that they can take for themselves and they can apply to their own life and have their own relationship with and own feeling about it. I think that's really beautiful. A new coworker of mine was a fan of The Thing. I met Keith David soon after and got a personalized signed autograph for him. He loved it. Oh, that's awesome. Chucky's so adorable. When a movie makes you cry with your friends, some animated movies made me cry this year. You know, that makes me laugh because in the summer my cousin was over and I was like, I don't know if anyone's seen it, Hardball with Keanu Reeves. And that movie like really does something to me. And I was like trying not to like audibly cry. I was like trying to like hold it in and I was like, oh my, like I was like on the edge of my seat. Like I'm about to like wail and I'm gonna like send out like this like really like terrifying like cry. And I was so worried that I was gonna just like wail cry. Yeah, which animated movie? Or you said movies, which movies? Hardball is so good. I feel like it's almost a spoiler alert that it's gonna make you cry, but I've watched that movie so many times and I know what happens and I cry every time. I could cry right now. Honestly, I could cry thinking about it. Like I it's so good. It's so good, but it's like it's so sad. It's beautiful. I think for something to be so good and so sad, that means it's beautiful. Wild Robot and Inside Out 2. Oh, I saw Inside Out 2 in theaters. Wild Robot. That's interesting. I don't think I've seen Wild Robot. I don't think I've even seen like a trailer for Wild Robot. Would you recommend Wild Robot? And then this is an interesting one about making moments memorable. So the theme of pride, and it says recognizing others, multiplying milestones, and practicing courage. I feel like I want to look into that. Because I feel like there's a lot of complicated feelings when you talk about pride. But also, like, something I think that's important about communities is like celebrating people. I think the hallmark of a good community is that people feel like they can go there and be celebrated. And I think that's really beautiful. And I've also been a part of communities where I felt like it wasn't safe to be celebrated. And I think a lot of the world, like in the world, it's not safe to be celebrated. It's on Peacock. I would recommend it. It's a cute movie. I should probably write that down. I don't have my post-it. Oh, here's my post-it notes. I still have my notes from last live stream. Wild robot. Peacock. I think I do a peacock. Yeah, hardball. I don't like that makes me cry. I don't know if there's anything that makes me cry as much as hardball. Like that one, it's like uncontrollable. I think being recognized is really beautiful. Multiplying milestones. I think celebrating a milestone. Something I love about this channel is like celebrating every milestone. Like every time we hit like a new, either like an angel number or like a round 100. I'll be watching Hardball soon then. You are building a fun community here, so thanks. Thank you. Yeah, you know, something I love about this community is when I get messages from people like, you know, like Mars talking to you. It's really fun a lot of the times, like to be able to like get real-time feedback and for people to be like, oh yeah, I really liked this, or like, hey, have you considered this, or like people sending me their ghost stories and like sharing those stories with me. It's like it's so fun, and also I feel like it's something that we're all creating together, um, which is really enjoyable for me. And I love celebrating the milestones. I think we were at like 840, so it'll be fun to get 888 or 900. Practice courage. I'm curious what practice courage means because I don't remember actually. I think this book needs a summary. You are very inclusive, so always fun chatting with everyone. Yeah, you know, I love when everyone's chatting with each other, like the camaraderie. So the idea of having courage is something that's memorable to people. I see that. You know, I used to be so shy. I still am shy. Like people will find me being shy. Um, but I used to be so shy to the point where I couldn't function. And I think a lot of the times, like I was so scared to even speak. I had problems speaking. My voice would shake, and I went to a specialist, and he told me that it was just anxiety. And yeah, it was really hard for about a year, 2 years, for me to even like speak. And I went on some podcasts, and one of the episodes had to be cut because they said my voice was inaudible, and another one they had to cut the first like 25 minutes because my voice again was inaudible. So I think about how much it's changed, and that's like really incredible. Actually, I wonder if I could show you. I think I have a voice memo. Artistic vision. One second, I have to find the voice memo inside of the app. I'll show you what my voice used to sound like. Hello and welcome to the first meditation on my Patreon.
So first,
I used to have a
set the
Patreon.
intention to honor your gifts and move forward.
Like, it sounded
as
like
you're
I was gonna
breathing
cry, and there was
an
like a lot of
artistic
strain in my
self.
voice.
Sit upright, chins.
So yeah, it was impossible for me to speak, and now I do a lot of different ways I speak. I'm also shy in groups, but better in a small group or one-on-one setting. I can really relate to that. I feel like villains who laugh are more likable. Like Chucky, Freddy. And then like you look at someone like Michael Myers, and it's actually terrifying for me that he never laughs. Yeah, I love the idea of defining moments. In memorable things. Art the Clown. He laughs in silence. Ooh. I feel like I should look that up. That's interesting. Yeah, I feel like Terrifier, that franchise is something I'd really enjoy watching. I could hear your shaky voice in it. You have come a long way. Yeah. I didn't really like do anything to get it treated. I just kept speaking, and at the time it was when I was first training as a creativity coach, and I just kept coaching clients. That's true. That's a going one game over. Art laugh in silence and smiles so much. It's funny. That's interesting. I feel like I really like that one. I think the doll Chucky looks very different from the first one to all the other ones. And there's something comforting I feel about the doll. That's a good one. Game over. Art laughing in silence. Yeah, I think the Chucky films definitely are comfort movies for me. Andy's mom is, I don't know, she's somewhere, maybe looking where Chucky was when he was human. I do like Chucky's different looks, especially stitched up Chucky. Yeah, I think it's like both of them are really um adorable. I met all of them and they're great. I'm so happy for their success. Who is that? Oh, one second. I think I missed one. I was literally laughing out loud in theaters during Terrifier 3. People probably think I'm a sick person. You met all of who? I think most people think people who like horror are a little sick. Yeah. Um I sometimes people say that they wouldn't expect me to like horror. I take that as a compliment. I met the creator and actors of Terrifier. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, Chucky's adorable. He is confronted with the realization that the longer he stays in the doll body, the more human it becomes. LOL, that's true. I didn't expect you to like horror. It was a nice surprise. I feel like people who know me like really know how much I like love horror. Terrifier just wasn't for me. It seemed too zany. Sorry, it's so tiny. Zany or too into itself. I watched the first one but couldn't finish the second. Interesting. That's interesting. I wonder how I'll feel about it. I feel like a lot of horror movies are work off of like a supernatural assumption, and this movie is like no different. Like the idea of voodoo is like an assumption of the movie. That was a good scene when Chucky doll starts to bleed, adds to the creepy. Terrifier is pretty sick in ways. Interesting. I wonder if I would actually like it. I feel like I am willing to watch something that is disturbing if there's like an iconic element to it because it's easier to forgive that. Sadly, I have to go. A lot of fun talking to everyone. As Chucky likes to say, friends till the end. Friends till the end. Chucky goes straight into it. I feel like the voodoo happens when so strongly and so quickly that it doesn't give you time to doubt the supernatural aspects. Yeah, I think it's like it's the same thing with like Nightmare on Elm Street because there's a supernatural element to it, and if the supernatural element didn't exist, the whole rest of it wouldn't exist. Later, Mars. I'm absorbed by the movie. I think Andy's back home now, and he notices that Chucky has found him. Oh wait, no, he's not back home. I guess he's in a hospital. I guess I forgot about that part. I recently watched this. I don't know why I forgot about that. I think this is probably one of the horror movies I've seen a lot of recently. I also have watched it a lot. The remake and the original. I like crispy Chucky. I love that scene. How do you feel about Brad Dourif in other horror movies like the bad guy in Exorcist 3? Um, I don't think I would. I don't think I've seen Exorcist 3. Um, Brad Dourif. Who exactly is Brad Dourif? Is that the voice of Chucky? I want to look it up, but I don't want my computer to be slow. I probably should have ate something. The voice of Chucky, yeah, for all the movies and TV show too. I'm curious, is the voice of Chucky the same actor that plays Chucky in the beginning? I was thinking about that. Yes, that's him as well. I have an image of what he looks like today, and I'm not sure if that's true. And I also can't put that image in your head for you to tell me if it's true. So I'll look it up later. So Chucky has found Andy, and the doctor has found Andy. I think something that's so interesting about the supernatural horror movies is this idea of gaslighting. And I think that turns into something like the idea of horror movies touching on things that are like actual fears and not just made up fears. And I think a lot of the times when you look at characters and villains in horror movies, there's this element of like the made up fear. And I think what makes the movie so scary is that there are all these real fears that are inside of it that like even the idea, and I've been fascinated with this idea, is like the idea of like seeing things spill in horror movies. And like there's something so disturbing, I think, for a lot of people, like with the idea of like there being a mess. And yeah, I find that so fascinating. Or like the idea of a parent being overbearing or angry, and like the fear that that brings out in people. I think it touches on a deeper fear. And I was talking to ChatGPT about this, and we were basically saying about this idea that horror movies show depth of fears, and like it's a way to confront your fears. And especially because at the end it's usually resolved, and if it's not, it's like within the little moments that you can resolve these fears by confronting them. um yeah, I think that's really fascinating about horror movies. And especially with, this is something I really loved about Hard Eyes, is there's this culture of like in real life, like the dating culture being so absolutely horrendous, and like people really mistreating each other and that being so normalized. And then there's this like Hallmark movie culture where people like think that that is like something that's a reality. And I think in Hard Eyes, like the idea of being counter genre and counter culture was really powerful. What other piss doll movies have you enjoyed besides Child's Play? Um, You know, the original one with Annabelle, um, but I think there was a separate Annabelle movie, but the original one with Annabelle, Her Eyes was pretty good. Yeah, I was thinking about doing a video on like multi-genre horror and this idea that like horror doesn't have to be one thing. It can be like multi-genre, and that we see now that there isn't a pressure for things to be one thing, but for it to be more expansive. What are your favorite doll movies, Fernando? Yeah, I'm like super hungry. I'll eat after. But you might actually hear my stomach. I'm sorry if you hear my stomach. It's part of the horror. Also, something that Child's Play does well is also the suspense in the beginning, is like the suspense of people not knowing Chucky is alive. I feel like that is something that adds to it. Like each film in the franchise. What was the name of the movie where they introduced Annabelle? Not the Annabelle movie, but when they introduced it, and it was more about the people that hunted Annabelle. I can't remember the name. The Conjuring. Yeah, I found that fascinating. Something I love about like the supernatural genre is when they base it off of like true stories. Like I think The Conjuring and Annabelle were based off of like true stories. The Exorcist was based off of true stories. The Exorcist of Emily Rose was based off of a true story. Um, a lot of the horror franchise, and I don't know if this is how you say his name because I've only read it. Ed Gein or Ed Gein. Um, he inspired Buffalo Bill in Silence of the Lambs. He inspired the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the character Leatherface or the cook, and he inspired Norman Bates in Psycho. What are your thoughts on Megan? I haven't seen Megan. I saw a trailer for it. Yeah, it doesn't really hit yet. I always have a fondness for Slappy from Goosebumps. It's interesting how a generally tamer kids TV medium can still invoke a lot of fear. Yeah. The Goosebumps doll really creeped me out when I was a kid. Yeah, those stories are so good. I remember the covers. They had the best covers, those books. I actually had a lot of trouble reading when I was a child. I recently made a post about this. I didn't really find comfort in reading until I was 19. And I had a difficult time reading as a child. Megan is a fun movie. I didn't think I would like it based on the trailer, but ended up enjoying it. Oh, that's good to know. What did you think, Fernando? The clown doll from Poltergeist was very memorable. That's interesting because I've seen Poltergeist so many times. I actually have no recall memory of the clown doll. Something I really remember is like her in front of the TV screen, the little girl. I always get sucked into the movies when we watch these. um, Luckily, for some reason, I am able to look at the screen and see when a new chat pops up, but I get sucked into these movies. Someone said that they liked this part. So Andy's getting the matches. He said, "This is the end, friend." Pretty good. That is a really cool scene. Yeah, I love the idea of like horror, like bringing up terrifying feelings that are real, like not just the fiction that scares you, but also like the real life fears. So I'm getting from this that the next live stream should be the original Scream. Is this true? Um, I've seen the first three Scream movies so many times. That'd be next. Wes Craven is so good. Scream would be excellent. Yeah, I wanted to surprise everyone with Ghostface. Yeah, Chucky really gets like has been through it in all these movies. You know, a movie that I love that I don't always consider a horror movie, The Shining. It's probably disturbing that I don't consider that a horror movie. I was just thinking about it because there's this scene where I think they do this in either Bride of Chucky or Seed of Chucky, where Chucky is stabbing through the door, which is similar to when Jack Nicholson is axing through the door. The Shining was fire. Yeah, I think anything Like, I love everything I've ever seen that was adapted from Stephen King. Something I never understand in like horror movies um when a character picks up a gun and like can actually shoot it. Like if I picked up a gun, I would not know how to shoot it. It's just so funny because it's like they'll always like shoot the villain, but it's like how do they know how to use a gun? Have you read or seen Doctor Sleep? Um, I have Doctor Sleep right here. I saw the movie, and I've read. I don't know if I finish it. I finished it. Um, I am the queen of not finishing books, but then also I reread books so much that um, I'm actually probably reading so much. I read a lot, um, but I don't in any way feel guilty about not finishing a book. Um, you know what happens to me is, and this is a bizarre experience, if I don't finish a book and then the author reaches out to me, and I have a podcast, so it happens in like ways of like people I know and also like people I don't know. Um, like I didn't finish it, and I was like I was like working on it for quite some time, like reading it. And then Stephen King commented on one of my tweets, and I was like, oh my God, like I didn't finish reading the book. Uh, um, yeah, that happened a few times with certain things. Um, it's difficult for me to finish books, but I can listen to them all day. Yeah, I listen to books too. I think one of my favorite things is rereading books. Like it's like if you know it's good and you read it again, it's like I feel like it's even better than the first time. Uh I just love rereading things. Like it's so joyful. A book that I loved reading the first time um was probably the novella Rita Hayworth and the Shawshank Redemption. I love how it ends on hope. And I did a whole live stream on that one. Um, and also Phenomenology of Perception. It's not fiction. The English translation is something about that was just such a joy to read. Um, it like gave me like this deep sense of deja vu. Favorite Stephen King book or movie? Um, Movie Stand By Me and Shawshank Redemption, both of them. And also, that's the Different Seasons book. I have it up there. The Different Seasons book is like my comfort book. Someone mentioned another novella in there that I don't think I read, but they said they really loved it. I forgot which one it was, but I think it's the other one in there. Yeah, that book is really incredible. But you know, I hear so many good things about it. I think I should really finish it. Sometimes it's like, and I've talked about this with friends, is like you save a book for like when it's going to be like that time in your life where you read it. And I think that's really special. Like saving a book for a certain time period where it's like that's when you read it. Um like when I read Rita Hayworth and the Shawshank Redemption, it was on a plane to LA, and it was like just so memorable. Like the moment of like being on the plane and like reading the last line, I hope, just really is so memorable for me. What's everyone else's favorite Stephen King book or movie? Oh, I think Scream is on Max. Oh, that's good to know. Graveyard Shift. Interesting. Oh, there's more. Which is your favorite of the Child's Play sequels? I love the Dead Zone. Ooh. Favorite Child's Play sequels. I think Bride of Chucky. It's really iconic. I think Tiffany is such an iconic character. Her doll is so cute too. Um, Salem's Lot. Yeah, Stephen King is incredible. I don't know if anyone here is a writer, but his book on writing is really interesting. Um, he writes like 2,000 words a day, which is really incredible. And also he's like very habitual, and I love how he says Pet Cemetery is another favorite. Oh, that's great. Um, he says about the muse, it's like um when people say like they only write when they're inspired, and he's like, well, eventually if you sit at your desk every day at 9 a.m., the muse will know where to find you. I thought that was interesting. He's so fascinating. The movie has ended, so I want to hold this space open longer. Who would you consider better bet, Stephen King and Wes Craven? Um, Stephen King. I don't think I would put anyone before Stephen King. And that is because Stephen King's horror is so memorable and epic, but also when he writes things like The Body, and when he writes things like Rita Hayworth and The Shawshank Redemption, like that is so transformative. Like those are things that have changed my life. And yeah, I personally, like on a personal note, I would not put Stephen King ahead of anyone. And it's not just his horror. Like I think his horror is incredible, but also like he can write like great things outside of the genre. I didn't see Creepshow. Would you recommend it? Hey, Paul, good to see you. I am energized. This is my second Red Bull today. You would recommend it. Interesting. Are there any Supernatural fans out there? I love Supernatural. I was watching a TikTok and someone was like saying about how they can't watch horror movies in the same way because they would be like this doesn't need like 2 hours of a movie because Sam and Dean would have like ended it at like 45 minutes. And I find that so funny because it's like so true. Um, like it's a lot of the supernatural movies you look at in like a different way. I love Dean as a character. Yes, Dean is incredible. I was obsessed with Supernatural when it first came out, and I had a scrapbook and I put like quotes of like like my favorite quotes, because that show, like if you ever watch the pilot, it's so funny. It is so funny. There are so many great lines, and like Dean obviously is the one to deliver all the great lines. But I absolutely loved it. I think it was like on IMDb. I printed out all the quotes. Obviously, my favorite is Dean. But also I met Jared Padalecki, and he is so sweet. I met Misha Collins too, but Jared Padalecki was like very kind. Like, I went to a few supernatural conventions, and I did like a meet and greet. Also, I didn't really talk to Jensen Ackles, but he like crossed my path in the bathroom line, and yeah, I just remember it was like very like he's very human. Like it just was like it wasn't really like, thinking of like that he was Dean. It was just like very a human experience. And it was so funny because the person I went to the person I went with to the convention, they didn't want to miss like the convention, so they didn't go to the bathroom with me. And then it was so funny that I ran into Jensen Ackles on the bathroom line because it was like I was only by myself because the person I was with didn't want to miss anything. He was in the St. Valentine's Day Massacre remake. I think I have that on DVD. If I remember correctly, that came out quite some time ago. I actually have like a lot of horror movies and like random random movies that like not movies but like random compilations of horror movies. Did you see Starstruck? Did you get Starstruck? No. I don't think I've ever I don't think I've ever been starstruck by anyone in my entire life. I've also met Taylor Swift. Something that has been really meaningful to me is like writers. I get really sentimental. Like if someone wrote something that drastically changed my life, it's like it feels like my heart is overflowing when I either get to meet them or create something with them. Like I think that's so beautiful. Like I met Joseph Ronka, who is a human rights activist, and he talked about human rights culture. And when I was starting my advocacy company, Tea and Tie, it was basically based off of this article he wrote about human rights culture. And he showed up to like a conference seminar kind of thing, and I went up to him after and I was like, can I get a picture? Like I created this company like based off of this article you wrote, and it was really impactful and I absolutely loved it. And he found it so fascinating. He was like, why don't you like show us your website and like come up and like give a little speech about it? And he was the coolest. He was so awesome. Taylor Swift is really nice. So I've probably told this story so many times, but a friend of mine who was a big Taylor Swift fan was gonna do an essay writing contest, and she reached out to me and she was like, I don't know if I should do it. And I was like, yeah, do it. Why not? So she wrote an essay about being bullied for her height. And actually it turns out Taylor Swift was actually bullied for her height too. They're both very tall. And she won the contest. It was during the Red Tour, and something I remember was being in line for the meet and greet, and people were talking about how many times they've met Taylor and like how many different things they were a part of that she did. And I thought that was so cool. that there were these people that like actually knew her, that met her multiple times, that like understood what she was creating and was like a part of it and had a place in it. And I think it was like she was like the leader of like one of the fan clubs or something. And I just remember thinking like how cool that was. And then when we met her, my friend like said how she helped her like get through the bullying, and both of them like teared up, and it was so sweet. So I think Taylor Swift absolutely is so incredible because she, you know, just showed that she had a heart. And yeah, I am a big Taylor Swift fan. Having the last bit of the Red Bull. I wonder how much caffeine is in here. I probably shouldn't wonder. That's probably not good. The movie is over. Thank you everyone for being here. I had so much fun. Next time we're gonna be watching Ghostface, and we're gonna watch the original Scream. So thank you so much, everyone. I love talking memories with you. I loved this experience, and thank you for 800. I can't wait for the next milestone. Thank you so much, Miss Farmer. Thank you, Fernando. Thank you, Paul. I'm not sure who's still here. Thank you. I think a lot of other people left. So have a great night, everyone. Happy Saturday.